Visiting Maine is always a great adventure, and Mount Desert Island can be the highlight of any trip. But venture a bit farther across Frenchman Bay, just up Route 1, just around the corner. Just perfect, uncrowded, unspoiled, unexpected. Come to the Schoodic Peninsula, one very special part of Maine that you will not want to miss. Many would say that the Schoodic Peninsula is where the real Down East Maine begins, with scenic harbors, rocky shorelines, and forested hillsides. The towns of Winter Harbor, Gouldsboro, Sullivan, Sorrento, and Franklin. The villages of Prospect Harbor, Korea, Birch Harbor, Wansqueak Harbor and Bunkers Harbor, and home to one of the most overlooked parts of Acadia National Park. Yes, the largest part of Acadia may be on Mount Desert Island, but there's much more of Acadia to discover. Perhaps one of the most pristine, secluded sections of Acadia, the only part of the park on the mainland, is right at the tip of the Schoodic Peninsula, Acadia's best-kept secret. Situated on the far eastern edge of Hancock County, the Schoodic Peninsula is a rich and fertile coastal area, once known only to Maine's Native American tribes. But the waters surrounding Schoodic have been favored by seafaring folk of all kinds, especially lobstermen. By the late 1800s, travelers had found their way to Schoodic, and a summer colony, much like the one in Bar Harbor, began near Winter Harbor. They called it Grindstone Neck. And this community of both smaller and more elaborate homes, a yacht club and golf course, is alive today. By the 1900s, much of the Schoodic Peninsula was owned by Maine native and Wall Street tycoon John G. Moore. In an act of tremendous generosity, Moore's heirs donated more than 2,300 acres of family lands at Schoodic Point to the Hancock County Trustees of Public Reservations, with the stipulation that the area be used as a public park. In 1929, the U.S. Department of the Interior was granted the right to acquire the lands at Schoodic Point, and these pristine acres were joined with their big sister on Mount Desert Island to become Acadia National Park. Starting in the 1930s, a portion of Schoodic Point was operated as a U.S. naval base. Though the base was decommissioned in 2002, careful redevelopment of the area had begun even then, and that planning and preservation would grow into what today is the Schoodic Education and Research Center. In fact, much of the Schoodic Peninsula has been painstakingly preserved, protecting many of the original trails and roadways that lace across the point and through the park. Many of these paths, bridges, and roads stand even today as a testament to the skills and dedicated labor of the U.S. Civilian Conservation Corps, who built them in the 1930s and 40s. In part because of the significance of these pathways, large portions of the Schoodic Peninsula have been placed on the National Register of Historic Places, along with the now decommissioned Winter Harbor Light Station, which is perched just off the coast of Schoodic on Mark Island. The light was decommissioned in the 1930s, but has been formally recognized and preserved in honor of its history and almost 100 years of service as an aid to navigation. But the Schoodic Peninsula is more than just history. It's an ecologically rich area, filled with cultural activities and small business centers, home to fishermen, families, travelers, and wildlife. Here you can relax and experience real everyday life on the water, getting up close to the lives of the men and women whose hard work brings famous Maine lobster to tables around the world. It's all part of what makes Schoodic one of the most treasured vacation spots on the Maine coast. The Schoodic area is just an easy hour's drive from Mount Desert Island, and it's one of the most breathtakingly beautiful drives you'll ever experience. So take the scenic route, the Schoodic National Scenic Byway. Drive along Flanders Bay, Jones Cove, and into Winter Harbor, being sure to stop at the scenic turnouts along the way for views like nowhere else. Follow the Schoodic Byway down the peninsula, perhaps stopping for a picnic at Fraser Point, before heading out along the 5.5-mile one-way loop road that takes you through one of the most splendid sections of Acadia National Park, with crashing surf so close you can feel the spray. Continue your drive if you'd like around the loop into the villages of Wansqueak Harbor, Bunkers Harbor, Birch Harbor, and along to the village of Prospect Harbor, where you can again pick up the county road toward Ellsworth or take a detour to the scenic village of Korea. But why leave so soon when there's so much to see and do in the Schoodic Peninsula all year long? And so many great ways to get around. Daytime parking is easy in the newly expanded lots at Schoodic Woods Campground, or make it an especially easy trip by leaving your car behind in Bar Harbor. Hop aboard the ferry across Frenchman Bay to Winter Harbor, or connect with the free Island Explorer shuttle on both ends of the trip. The crossing itself is an adventure as you pass lighthouses, fishing and lobster boats in working harbors, and cottages and mansions along the shoreline. So park the car and grab your bike. Bikes are always welcome on the ferry and on the free Island Explorer shuttle. There are biking opportunities in Schoodic for cyclists of all abilities, along the Park Loop Road or other paths with gentle slopes and smooth surfaces for a carefree, comfortable ride. There's a complete bike loop on paved roads too, 11.5 miles along the Schoodic Loop Road. Plus, there are 8 miles of off-road trails for bikers and hikers in Acadia National Park at Schoodic, and well-maintained paths that run along the causeway and cut across the point, taking you along red granite shoreline past forests of pine, birch, cedar, and maple. Or head inland and pedal your way along the Down East Sunrise Trail, created from a converted railroad bed, now perfect for a day's bike outing. Or the truly adventurous can head straight to the water, bring your own kayak or rent one, and explore the coast up close from the sea itself. Take time to explore the numerous walking and hiking trails of the Schoodic Peninsula too. The views are amazing, and trails range from easy strolls to challenging hikes, with routes both in Acadia National Park and elsewhere, including those that are part of the Frenchman Bay Conservancy. Korea Heath with bogs and beaver dams and exceptional birdwatching opportunities. Through woodland hills with the picture-perfect landscapes of Frenchman Bay and Mount Desert Island as backdrops along the trails at Schoodic Mountain. The steep hike up Tucker Mountain, or easier trails at Schoodic Bog Preserve, and Little Tunk Pond Preserve, where you'll find a sand beach and striking views. Many of the trails in the Schoodic area are four-season, so there's plenty of opportunity to enjoy summer sunshine, fall foliage, and even snowshoeing or cross-country skiing in the park or beyond, along the trails on Donnell Public Lands or in the Petite Manan Wildlife Refuge. The trails of the Schoodic Peninsula let you enjoy nature up close in any season. The Schoodic Peninsula is home to working, living, vibrant communities where you can enjoy all the charm of Maine coastal life. Nonprofit and arts organizations such as Schoodic Arts for All, a full-service arts enrichment center based in Winter Harbor, offer music, theater, and visual arts events all year round, along with classes and workshops for all ages so you can explore your creative side: pottery, painting, woodworking, steel drums, strings, or just come to listen at the Last Friday Coffee House featuring local and national musicians. There's the Pierre Monteau School in Hancock, too, which hosts a professional school for music conductors and offers orchestral and chamber concerts throughout the summer. Historic sites such as the Stone Store and the Mill Pond and Cascade Houses, Schoodic Arts Hammond Hall, home to performance events throughout the year, and a real old-fashioned and incredibly practical 5 and 10 in downtown Winter Harbor, where you can find everything from bubblegum to boating gear. Yes, history is alive in the Schoodic Peninsula. The Working Farm at Darthea and Mandela Farm. Garden tours all over the area. The Winter Harbor Lobster Festival, all of which happens because these towns are living, working harbors, part of Maine's thriving lobstering industry. One of the richest and most unique resources of the area is the Schoodic Education and Research Center at Acadia National Park. Public and philanthropic investment joined to create this dynamic, multifaceted learning center at the decommissioned naval base, where state-of-the-art classrooms, labs, and an auditorium make it as idyllic as a small college campus right at the ocean's edge, where world-class research takes place right alongside hands-on learning experiences, fostering stewardship and an understanding of the natural world. Birding tours, ranger programs, citizen science, artist retreats, and cultural immersion programs. in one of the most beautiful natural places in the country, the Schoodic Peninsula. Come for the day or stay a while at one of the area's fine hotels, inns, or B&Bs. Or at the newly opened Schoodic Woods Campground, managed by the National Park Service. Dine in one of Schoodic's fine restaurants, intimate cafes, or delightful coffee shops. Visit unique wineries, galleries, and shops, knowing that everything you need, from Band-Aids and emergency services to an evening of fine food and beautiful music, is right at hand. Helping to make your visit to Maine the trip of a lifetime. Come visit the Schoodic Peninsula and see for yourself. It's still Acadia, still wild, still Maine, real down east, right nearby, uncrowded, unspoiled, unexpected. The Schoodic Peninsula.